Good morning. Welcome to our worship service at the First Unitarian Church of Worcester, Massachusetts. I am Jay Lavelle. I'm leading worship this morning with one of our members, Darren Belanger, who will be preaching today. Our summer musician, Alana Cady, and our broadcast technician, Eugene Rossi. We also welcome our very own Court Hill singers. Here at First Unitarian Church, we strive in loving fellowship to honor the sacred, connect with each other, and serve justice. We are a welcoming congregation. Whatever your age, race, class, nationality, sexual orientation, or gender identity, we are delighted to have you with us this morning. We are worshiping as one congregation in many places. We have people here in the sanctuary and people joining us online. The ministries of our church stretch beyond the walls of this sanctuary. If you're online, you can like this video to help others find us. Please subscribe to our channel to find more of our content and click on the little bell so you'll be notified as soon as it's available. Our newsletter is the best way to stay in touch and join our other programs. If you would like to receive our e-newsletter, please go to firstunitarian.com and click subscribe to our newsletter at the bottom of any page. If you're here in the sanctuary, you can visit the welcome table in the Bancroft room and sign up to receive the e-newsletter. So now, we're going to turn things over to Darren.
This is the day the Lord has made. Life is always unfinished business, by Richard Gilbert. In the midst of the whirling day, in the hectic rush to be doing, in the frantic pace of life, pause here for a moment. Catch your breath. Relax your body. Loosen your grip on life. Consider that our lives are always unfinished business. Imagine that the picture of our being is never complete. Allow your life to be a work in progress. Do not hurry to mold the masterpiece. Do not rush to finish the picture. Do not be impatient to complete the drawing. From beckoning birth to dawning death, we are in process, and always there is more to be done. Do not let the incompleteness weigh on your spirit. Do not despair that imperfection marks your everyday. Do not fear that we are still in the making. Let us instead be grateful that the world is still to be created. Let us give thanks that we can be more than we are. Let us celebrate the power of the incomplete, for life is always unfinished business. It's now time for our chalice lighting. In the spirit of love, we light this chalice. Please rise and body your spirit to renew our covenant as printed in the order of service and on your screen. In the love of truth and in the spirit of Jesus, we unite for the worship of God and the service of all. Please join us in singing number 350 in the Gray Hymnal, The Ceaseless Flow of Endless Time. Please join me in the common prayer by Elena Westbrook as printed in the order of service. Let every moment be a prayer. With every sip of tea, let your lips move in thanksgiving. Be fully present to every stroke of the hairbrush, every cup of milk you pour for the children. Be present without judgment or regret, without plans or expectations, or even dreams, and every moment becomes a prayer. In our sacred time together, we share the joys and sorrows of our church with one another. Sarah Stewart would like to light a candle in memory of Judy Ingeson, Jennifer Bow's mother, who died last weekend. We hold Jennifer and her family in our hearts. Vicky Hardy would like to light a candle because family member Alex continues his battle against cancer. And Maggie Boone would like to light a candle because she has a job interview on Monday. Please continue your own thoughts and prayers in this time of silence. As we say together the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Our first reading is from the Bible, Ephesians 5, verses 15 to 20. Be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity, because the days are evil. Therefore, do not be foolish, but understand that the Lord's will is, do not get drunk on wine, which leads to debauchery. Instead, be filled with the Spirit, speaking to one another with psalms, hymns, and songs from the Spirit. Sing and make music from your heart to the Lord, always giving thanks to God the Father for everything, in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Our ministries here at First Unitarian Church continue to thrive because of your support. Your offering makes a difference here and in our community. The ushers will receive the morning's offering. If you are worshiping online, you can text the number on your screen or go to firstunitarian.com and click Give Online at the top of any page. I invite your generous contributions for the good work of this church. Our second reading is from David Foster Wallace from The Pale King. To me, at least in retrospect, the really interesting question is why dullness proves to be such a powerful impediment to attention. Why we recoil from the dull. Maybe it's because dullness is intrinsically painful. Maybe that's where phrases like deadly dull or excruciatingly dull come from. But there might be more to it. Maybe dullness is associated with psychic pain, because something that's dull or opaque fails to provide enough stimulation to distract people from some other, deeper type of pain that is always there, if only in an ambient, low-level way, in which most of us spend nearly all our time and energy trying to distract ourselves from feeling, or at least feeling directly or with our full attention. Admittedly, the whole thing's pretty confusing and hard to talk about abstractly. But surely something must lie behind not just muzak in dull or tedious places anymore, but now also actual TV in waiting rooms, supermarkets checkouts, airport gates, SUVs back seats, Walkman, iPod, Blackberries, cell phones that attach to your head. This terror of silence with nothing diverting to do. I can't think anyone really believes that today's so-called information society is just about information. Everyone knows it's about something else, way down. This past school year, I competed in speech and debate tournaments in original oratory, an event where you write and perform your own 10-minute speech about a topic you care about. I wrote my speech about how we as a society have lost the value of our attention to big companies and need to reclaim the power of our attention in order to appreciate the meaningful and genuine parts of our lives. I did my research and wrote my first draft almost a year ago, and I've revised it after each of the 11 tournaments that I've competed at throughout this past year. Some virtually from a classroom at my school, and some live at an in-person league tournament at another Massachusetts high school. I'll keep my bragging short, but I won't pass up the opportunity either. Out of the 9 Massachusetts tournaments where I competed against everyone from Massachusetts doing this event, usually about 20 people per tournament, I won 6 of them, including a 4-in-a-row stretch from mid-December to mid-January. But the crowning achievement was winning the title of state champion at the state tournament in early April, where all 6 of my judges ranked me first, except one who gave me second. Then I took it nationally to the Grand National Tournament in Washington, D.C. over Memorial Day weekend, and placed 20th out of 180 competitors from across the country. And now, you will see me perform it for the last time. Normally I perform it memorized, but it's been a couple of months, so cut me some slack. But before then, I've forged such deep friendships, some with people here, and gained so many skills, writing, persuading, performing, etc., doing speech for the past 4 years, and I plan to use all of them to help the world around me going forward in my life's journey. Today, I hope I can help you view the world a little differently. Here is Can I Have Your Attention, Please? By Darren Belanger. Everyone be quiet. Do you hear something? Listen really closely. Do you hear that? I think I know what that is. That, my friends, is the sound of your attention. And hopefully, now I have it. Well, first off, thank you. I will gladly take it for the next 10 minutes. But more importantly, let's appreciate how special moments like these are. Our attention is being pulled in so many different directions. As we all know, we have a contraption in our pockets that can connect us to almost anyone in the world and practically infinite sources of distraction. I mean, information. But when we combine it with all the other aspects of our 21st century lives, school, work, hobbies, friends, family, current events, it's increasingly rare to give anything your undivided attention. And in just the past 20 years or so, society has gotten to a point where information is no longer a limited resource. Now, as we navigate life in the age of technology, we can instead treat attention as a limited resource, like oil or my patience with anti-vaxxers. It becomes basic economics. As economist and political scientist Herbert Simon has stated, a wealth of information creates a poverty of attention. And lo and behold, the big companies of today, such as Apple, Facebook, and Amazon, capitalize on the scarcity of attention and develop methods of holding your attention for as long as possible. Because to them, attention is time, and forgive the cliche, time is money. And therein lies the problem. We have simply forgotten the true value of our attention. And in the fast-paced, commodified world we live in, we are giving more attention to artificial things rather than the meaningful and genuine parts of our lives. And in the process, we are frankly losing our free will. So today, we'll break down this issue into 3 parts. First, we'll bring our attention to the sneaky and damaging ways that the big companies of the world hold our attention hostage, so that we can then shift our focus to the consequences of not having control of what we are choosing to give our attention to. Until finally, we'll learn how to overcome the harms of this stolen attention and focus on the parts of our lives that matter. To begin, we need to realize that this frantic grab for our attention is not even a recent development. Yes, even before our addicting smartphones, one of the first attention grabbers was mouthwash. Yes, mouthwash. You see, back in the 1920s, people didn't care all that much about bad breath. But Listerine came up with something that we now know as demand engineering, where they made customers want a product to solve a problem they didn't even know they had until Listerine told them they had it. By using the little-known term halitosis, which supposedly made you unpopular via bad breath, they were able to manufacture a need out of thin air, just so that they can swoop in and sell you the solution, Listerine mouthwash. I don't know about you, but that sounds like carefully manipulating the consumer's self-esteem and insecurities for profit. But when this manufactured attention skyrocketed their profits from $115,000 to over $8 million, other companies couldn't ignore the results. So nowadays, there are companies ready to meticulously prey on your attention. American technology ethicist Tristan Harris shared that the most important development to create Facebook's captivating and addicting feed was actually the scroll wheel on the computer mouse. Instead of having to click and drag to the next page, your hand never has to leave its resting position, and you can just scroll and scroll and scroll, all the while your attention never needing to waver from the endless stream of cat videos and fake news. Even the use of the color red in our social media notifications is designed to trigger our brain to release a small amount of cortisol, the stress hormone, until we click on it and make it disappear. These companies are using these seemingly tiny strategies to actually alter our minds to keep our attention on them. Because the more time we spend staring at our phones or mindlessly wandering the aisles of Target, the more money they make. They're incentivized to alter us, to limit our ability to make our own choices about what we want. But deep down, we know this. We all know, whether we admit it or are in denial, that we are just falling into these traps that these modern companies have set for us. And yet, we can't escape it because technology is the foundation to modern society. Work happens over email. Culture happens over social media. If we want to remotely be a part of it, we can't escape. We don't have a choice. And if we don't have a choice, then we don't truly have free will. But what might not be as intuitive are the consequences of not having control of our own attention. When we don't have full control of what we are giving our attention to, even the attention we have left is hindered, and a lot of it is wasted on practically nothing at all. An interesting Microsoft study found that since the mobile revolution began in 2000, the average time that it takes for someone to lose concentration has dropped from 12 seconds to just 8 seconds, or roughly how long I can stand to listen to a Justin Bieber song. Additionally, a study from UC Irvine has shown that after an interruption or distraction to their work, it took participants on average over 23 minutes to fully refocus and return to productively working. Because even after they had returned to their task, part of their attention was still on the distraction. So let's say whenever a notification distracts you from your work, there will be a considerable amount of time when your attention is on both the practical applications of the quadratic formula and that really adorable puppy video on TikTok. And those don't mix well. University of Washington Associate Professor Sophie Leroy calls this effect attention residue. When we have so many things racing around our mind and we're constantly switching in between them, they each leave a sort of residue that contaminates the quality of attention we can give to our other things. Of course, this wouldn't be a problem if nothing we did was meaningful or required our brains, but newsflash, we all live complicated and delicate lives. So by stretching our attention so thin on addicting, fake, and commodified things, we risk not having enough to give to the parts of our lives we want to give it to. And as our lives return to their usual fast-paced post-quarantine, we can't forget the power that our attention has. In my own life, the pandemic forced me to slow down, which was frustrating at times. But it did mean that when a friend reached out with some troubles, I was able to help. I remember one day, after we'd been hanging out with some other friends, I received a text from him, simply saying, "I sometimes think they're not interested in me." I hadn't noticed that disconnect before, but in that text, I was hit with a realization that I think American journalist Will Schwab summed up best. The greatest gift you can give anyone is your undivided attention. So a couple of times later that week, I made it a point to sit down with him with the sole purpose of giving him my attention. Instead of half listening to him while I was checking my phone, I actually connected with him, because in that moment, my attention was solely on him. And having my focused attention helped this typically very shy person come to life with his interests and passions, which in turn helped me, an extrovert at heart, feel more socially connected, socially sustained, and connected to the world around me. Likes, tweets, and texts don't even come close to replicating that feeling. And this act of setting aside time to focus on just one thing is practically the entire solution to this attention problem. You might know it better as mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of being aware of your body, mind, and feelings in the present moment, according to Cambridge English Dictionary. And it's the antidote to stray attention. Simply be mindful of what you're choosing to pay attention to. Live in the moment and be present. When you're with your friends, be with your friends. Don't check your phone, don't think about work until you sit down to work. Then give your full attention to your work and not your friends. And mindfulness is powerful. When Dr. Judson Brewer instructed smokers to pay full attention to all aspects of smoking, positive aspects like the rush of nicotine, but also negative aspects like the stench, participants were able to see the full truth of smoking and were able to quit one of the most addicting habits there is. So, no matter how you choose to reclaim the value of your attention, I truly hope you do. I'm not asking you to disengage with modern society and live in the woods meditating forever. But what I am asking of you is to never forget that attention is the key to connection. At every moment, something is occupying your attention. And in that moment, that's what you're connected to. The option to pay attention, engage, and connect is always there. These last 10 minutes, I hope you were connected to me and my speech. But in the next 10 minutes, next hour, next day, next month, I hope you use the power of your attention to connect with your friends, your family, your passions. Because at the end of the day, those are the parts of your life that matter, not mouthwash. Thank you. And now, if you'll do me the great honor of rising in body or spirit to join me in singing my favorite hymn of all time, number 108, How Can I Keep From Singing, in the Gray Hymnal. Go out into the world with gusto. Be present for whatever life has to offer you. Dance in the rain now and worry about finding a towel later. Nothing is more important than what's right in front of you. There are magical things happening all around you. Pay attention, and you just might live them. And stay cool.